Hey guys, this is Sports Dylan, and it is now NHL Free Agency. So, it hasn't been the most interesting free agency this year. There's been a couple signings that have been interesting, but it's primarily goalies that have been extremely interesting. So that's more what the focus will be on today, but we're going to talk about all of it. So, I'm just going to go through every free agent signing quite quickly and note out a couple of really interesting ones. So, Patrick Laine re-signed with the Blue Jackets, which isn't very surprising given that by the end of the year he was playing better for the Blue Jackets and they seem to like him there. Adam Gaudette and Jujhar Khaira both signed with the Blackhawks, which really goes to show that the Blackhawks want to win. They don't want to rebuild, because now they're adding more forwards. Philip Deneau signed with the Kings, which I think is quite interesting, because the Kings are actually building quite a good offense now, with Quinton Byfield and now Philip Deneau, a couple of others. They've got a better team. Still not a playoff team, but a couple of years from now, easily a playoff team. David Savard and Mike Hoffman both signed with the Canadiens. The Canadiens have actually done quite a bit over this offseason. Nothing major, but they have had multiple signings. These are the two most notable. Michael Granlund signed with the Predators. Brandon Sutter signed with the Canucks. Ryan Getzlaf signed with the Ducks. Derek Ryan signed with the Oilers, which I'm going to get to more later. Dmitry Kulikov signed with the Wild, which officially makes the Dmitry Kulikov trade Ken Holland's worst trade ever, because he traded for Dmitry Kulikov. He ended up being injured for the whole time the Oilers had him, and now he signed with the Wild. So the Oilers traded away a fourth rounder for nothing. Josh Leivo signed with the Hurricanes, and probably the most interesting on this list, Corey Perry signed with the Lightning. Now, the Lightning have lost a couple of other players. None, I wouldn't say, as good as Corey Perry. But that's probably why the Canadiens have gone and signed a couple other forwards. But I think they might still be better this year. Like, Cole Caulfield will probably improve in his second year, and so will Nick Suzuki in his third. Plus, we've got couple new forwards, as I said, David Savard and Mike Hoffman, amongst others, which will help. Now, as I mentioned, goalies have been extremely interesting this offseason. To start with, Philip Grubauer signed with the Kraken. Now, it feels like the Kraken watched my video, because now the Kraken have two good goalies. I'm assuming Grubauer will start, because Drager hasn't had time to prove himself. He's always had Bobrovsky and Spencer Knight right there. So Drager could take the starting job, but Grubauer is a proven goalie. Now, they're still not as good as the Golden Knights. I mean, Fleury is way better than Grubauer, and Leonard is better than Drager. But are still good goalies. Now, the Avalanche obviously had to fill the void of goalie, so they made an upgrade in Darcy Kemper. They traded Connor Timmins, a 2022 first rounder, and a 2024 conditional third rounder. Don't know what the condition is, they haven't made that public, to the Coyotes for Darcy Kemper. So now the Avalanche are a bit scary, because they've solved their only weakness. So, as an Oilers fan, I am legitimately scared of the Avalanche. I think they have a fair shot at dethroning the Lightning. Now, another former Coyotes goalie, Antti Ranta, went to the Hurricanes. So did former Maple Leafs goalie Frederik Andersen. So now the Hurricanes have 2 good goalies to work with. I'm assuming Andersen will be the starter because Ranta has had injuries in the past, and Andersen is a proven starter with more experience. Ironically, Peter Mrazek went to the Maple Leafs. So now, if Jack Campbell struggles a bit, like he did after Andersen was injured this year, then they've got a proven backup in Mrazek, who could step in. But Jack Campbell's going to be the starter for sure. No doubt about it. Now, David Riddick, who also played for the Maple Leafs briefly, signed with the Predators. Now, I'm a bit skeptical about this one, because David Riddick is one of those goalies that it's a really amazing backup, but is never a really good starter. And the Predators don't really have a better option or an option to compete with Riddick. So, he's still better than Pekka Ryan by the end, because Pekka Ryan was 38. But I'm still skeptical about this signing. If I were the Predators, I would have tried harder for someone like, I don't know, like Linus Ullmark, who signed with the Bruins. Now, he was the Sabres goalie. We can't really blame him for anything because he was injured this whole year. But I don't like this signing either because he was injured this whole year. So if I were the Bruins, I would re-sign Tuukka Rask and then drafted someone to eventually succeed Tuukka Rask. But now they're basically telling Tuukka Rask that he's done in Boston. He's not coming back because they signed a goalie that's also quite good. Now, Tuukka Rask is still a free agent, which is a bit surprising because, yes, he's 36, but he's a top 3 goalie, pretty much. Maybe 4, it depends if you say Fleury's better. But, anyways, Tuukka Rask is still really good. But I'm having trouble imagining where he could sign now. Because I always feel like Tuukka Rask has won before, but he actually hasn't. He's never won a Stanley Cup. So you'd think that's what he'd want to do. But there's only a couple teams that need a goalie now. Lots of people thought the Avalanche would try and sign Tuukka Rask, but that didn't happen. Obviously, the Bruins aren't going to re-sign him. So the only teams, really, are the Sabres, who let go of both Linus Ullmark and Carter Hutton, their backup goalie, who you can sort of blame. Not really, because the Sabres were just an awful team. But Carter Hutton went to the Coyotes. So now the Sabres have the worst goalies in the league. Now, the Sabres are the Sabres. So I don't think someone that wants to win would sign with the Sabres. Now, the other team is the Coyotes. Because, as I said, they signed Carter Hutton, but I think he's more suited to be a backup. But again, it's the Coyotes. Don't know what the Coyotes' plan has been, because they let go of 3 good goalies. They trade Adin Hill to the Sharks right before the expansion draft. I mean, for a while they had a good team. They had Taylor Hall, they had Darcy Kemper, they had Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That's a good team. And bit by bit, they've taken down that whole team. Now, as I mentioned, Adin Hill is now with the Sharks, so the Sharks released Martin Jones, who had a terrible contract. Just awful. So, right away, it was surprising how quick it was. Martin Jones was picked up by the Flyers to be a backup to Carter Hart. Vitek Onchek, who was selected by the Kraken in the expansion draft, was traded back to the Capitals for a second rounder. Obviously, the Kraken didn't need Vanecek anymore because they have Grubauer now. And it was pretty much a good move on both sides, because the Capitals always liked Vanecek, but they couldn't protect him. And now the Kraken didn't need him, so the Capitals trade back for him. And finally, Braden Holtby. This one is crazy, because now the Stars have 4 goalies that could all be starters. 4 goalies! All of them are capable starters. 2 of them are top 10 goalies. And the other 2 are both top 20. 4 capable goalies. How? Why would they need 4 goalies? Shouldn't they be concentrating on, other needs, like the rest of their team? Because they didn't have a really good year this past year. And that's not because of their goalies, as we can see. So why would they need to sign a 4th? 4 goalies. This is just outrageous. Now, there's one trade that doesn't involve a goalie that I'm going to speak about now. Ethan Bear was traded to the Carolina Hurricanes for Warren Foegele. I hate this trade. I'm just going to go straight up and admit it. I like Ethan Bear. I think most Edmonton fans are with me on this. Ethan Bear is, Ethan Bear. Everyone likes Ethan Bear. He's Ethan Bear. Don't know why I like Ethan Bear, but he's Ethan Bear, and I like Ethan Bear. And now, he's playing for the Carolina Hurricanes. And instead, we got Warren Foegele from offense. This offseason, we've lost Dmitry Kvilkov, who hasn't made any difference. But then we've also lost Adam Larson, Caleb Jones. In exchange, we did get Duncan Keith, so I'm not complaining there. And now Ethan Bear. Chris Russell's also still a free agent. I mean, why do we have to trade Ethan Bear? If we had kept Ethan Bear, we could have had a 3rd really good defensive line with Ethan Bear and Chris Russell. But now, we don't have Ethan Bear. And even if we do re-sign Chris Russell, the rest of our defensive players are trash, besides the first 2 lines. I'm not so sure about how Ken Holland has handled this offseason. Because we've improved on defense, but not a ton. We have not improved on goalie. Obviously, it's just the same 3 people. We have improved on offense, but that should be the least of our needs. So, Ethan Bear makes me saddest of all. I mean, Dmitry Kvilkov I've never seen play, so there's no connection there. Adam Larson I never liked. Maybe it's because we traded Taylor Hall for him. Taylor Hall. What kind of trade was that? Ethan Bear has held a special place in my heart, being a good defenseman, and he works so well with Darnell Nurse. Now he's gone. It's sad. Very sad. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.